Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Leadership Journey Podcast, an absolute enlightenment for leaders on how to become better, serve better, love better, and to live better. I would like you to tune in and listen open-mindedly for beneficial messages to come across to you.
Hello there. Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode. And on today's episode, I am having Nthabi from South Africa. Nthabi is the founder of House of Shekinah Consulting Life, and she's a leadership coach and a transformational speaker with a passion for developing women, particularly women in leadership. She uses her experience and journey as a leader to partner with women by supporting them in their highly pressurized roles. In her role as a coach, she acts as a sounding board and thinking partner in order to assist them in coming up with strategies that sets them apart in their industries and assist them in showing up powerfully in their roles as a leader. In her experience as a leader, she has established a high-performing, very motivated, self-leading team. She has also been involved in leading and turning around a team that was not performing. Once again, join me in welcoming Nthabi from South Africa. Thank you so much for being here, Nthabi.
Thank you so much for the welcome. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
I am so honored to have you right now, and I'm so glad because this discussion for today is something I am so much interested about. It's something I have been longing to know more and to get knowledge about it and to understand it more, because it is a very, very vital crisis in our world right now. It is a very vital issue, and the better we get to solve this issue, we get to come around to approach this sooner, the better for us as a world, the better for us as an human race. And I'm so glad that I have no one but you to discuss this with. So thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for joining. And for you who is listening to us right now, I would let Nthabi introduce herself for just a few minutes and we'll kick off the conversation. Over to you, Nthabi.
Yes, hello. My name is Nthabi from South Africa, Joburg. Yes, like you've said, I am a life and a leadership coach. And a founder of House of Shekinah Consulting. I'm privileged and honored to work with women, especially women who are in leadership position. I'm just honored to be able to support them, collaborate with them, and partner with them in terms of transforming their journeys, and also just helping them and be there a partner for them in solutioning and in thinking and in brainstorming so that they move ahead with their own strategic goals, and also just feel empowered as well in terms of in definitely in their leadership roles. Yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Great. I love that. And I love, as I said, when I first met you, I said, I love what you do. I love your sacrifice. I love your influence on not just women, but everyone, that you are now you are making us being more aware of this problem, that we have a very, very big problem and we have to solve this together as one. So thank you so much for doing what you do. Thank you so much for influencing us. Thank you so much for taking yourself as a role model to inspire more people, not just women, but men. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I can't stop saying thank you.
No, it's a pleasure. I mean, it's a journey for me. I'm honored. The honor, actually, I'm the one that is honored and privileged. And for these women to allow me to be a partner in their journeys. And I'm also still learning. So I think I'm very privileged to learn and unlearn and relearn with them as well. So I think I'm the privileged and honored one to be working with such amazing and powerful women. Yeah.
Great. So let's dive in, Nthabi. Let's dive in. Now, first, before I go into our questions, what is your definition of leadership?
I think first and foremost for me, leadership is about servanthood. Leadership is about serving. It's the highest form of serving. That's the foundational principle for me. And then after leadership being servanthood, it's influence. It's influence where people follow you because they want to, not follow you because of the position that you are in. It's basically people giving you permission to influence them, because you cannot influence without having anybody to influence, without followers. So people have to actually want to be influenced by you in order to influence them. I don't know if I'm making sense. Yes,
Totally.
but definitely it's servanthood and influence for me. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. You know, one of the interesting thing for me, being opportunity to host this podcast is I get to learn a lot from different people. And every time I get to ask this question, what is your definition of leadership? I get something new. I get to learn something new from everyone's definition. I can give numerous definitions of leadership defined by different speakers who have been on this podcast, and I have the opportunity to speak with, to interact with. And whenever I meet with one new person, it is always a new definition. It is always a new definition. But one thing that never ceases in those collective definition is the utmost thing, which is influence. Influence is the most important thing, is the foundation of everything. And you talked about that. That is you influencing people. That is the other people allowing you to influence them. That is you serving people. That is the foundation of it all. When other people are going to define leadership, it is also going to surround that. It's also going to be around the world of influence. And that is why, for those who are listening right now and have been with us in this journey of leadership, know my definition of leadership is by John Maxwell. Leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. That is the best definition I love. That is the best definition I get to so much connect with, because that sums it all. That is, with that, it tells you so many things. It tells you that leadership is not about the position. Leadership is not about you, your money, or the title, or wherever you are. It is just about you making an impact, adding value. And I love that, because it says in that also, it says that anyone and everyone is a leader. So I so much love that definition. Now,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah. Now,
Amazing, yeah.
thank you so much. I want to read some statistics right now. And this is disheartening. This is very, very bad. And I just need, if you're listening right now, I'll need you to hold yourself up in order not to, just because when I see this, I felt so bad. I felt so bad. Right now, 25% of all leadership roles are held by women. 190 head of states, only 9 are women. Of all the parliaments in the world, 13% are women. Only 15% of women are in top level. In the non-governmental organization, only 20% are held by women. Only 5% of the Fortune 500 company CEOs are women. This is serious. This is...
Yeah, the stats are quite low. They
wow.
Really...
Now... Okay, go on.
No, it's okay. You go first.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Now, I really don't know how to ask this, or I really don't know how to coin this, because I don't want to say, how did we get here? Because we were never here. We are just getting to a very... So if you understand what I'm trying to ask is, how is this? How is it? Yes, please. I
think, so I think the biggest thing is obviously our history. We do have a history of coming from a world that is predominantly male, especially in those positions. In the past, it used to be all male, 100% male in those positions. And over the years, it's starting to change slowly. But obviously, we are suffering the after effects of our history. And obviously, it's not going to take 10 years or 100 years to actually change the face of leadership. But it's going to take more years and more work and more effort from us women actually also stepping up into those roles, putting our hands up to be in those roles, and more men advocating for women to be in those roles as well, and society advocating for women to be in those roles. So I think most importantly, we are just suffering the effects of coming from a history where it was just male dominant, and that is the results. But in my mind, I think we are moving. The fact that there are a percentage of women in leadership positions right now, it's not enough, yes, but I do think that it's a step towards the right direction. I think the generations to come, the next generations and more generations to come will find the place or the world at a much better place than it is now if we do what we need to do as female leaders.
And you said something. You said this is to show how our society is, how to show where we were coming from. That we're coming from a world whereby it is dominated by males, and I see that is totally the truth because, when before now, it's always been men. Like when you get to see things, you see CEOs of companies or heads of departments, majorly it's around men. And when we get to see female, there is this excitement, or which is not supposed to be, that, oh, at last we add someone there, or, oh, a woman there, wow, this is nice. And which is not supposed to be, but it is so because we've been in a world whereby it's dominantly where men, it's majorly surrounded by men. It's majorly men who are there, and I almost cry whenever I get to see this or to experience this or to remember this, because this says a lot about who we are. This says a lot about who we are. This says a lot about our society is, and we get to see this everywhere. We get to see this from the political sector to the non-governmental organizations to schools to the list, to the family lane or the family sector or whatever I can call it. And this is serious because, some family will be like, the woman is not allowed to work, or the woman is not allowed to step outside, or the woman is not allowed to, go outside her home just because she's a woman, while the male is allowed and is actually not even allowed to give himself the freedom to go outside. And, this gap or this privilege that is being associated with this gender, male, and while it's been absent to the female. And you see this happen times and times again, even with this benefits in workplace, whereby, because you are a male, you get to receive this certain benefit, and you are a female, you have even you being at the same level, but you get to receive different benefits or different remuneration. And how do we get to close this gender gap? How do we get to close this gender gap? Because this is a serious issue.
I think the only way to close this gap is actually having society itself firstly, and the male counterparts advocating for women to be in the leadership roles in the first place, and secondly, allowing the conversations to happen, and openly having those conversations to say, here we are, there are women in leadership positions, and yet there's a disparity in how they're getting paid, and yet they are educated and very skilled. It takes a conversation. We need to have those conversations in order to close the gap. And for me, it's an integrity issue. I don't see how it makes sense for a woman, if we are all qualified and we have the same qualifications and the same number of years experience, and yet there is a gender that is being paid higher than the other. For me, it's more of an integrity issue than anything, which means organizations need to work harder in terms of aligning that. And as women, we gotta have to also, which we are doing currently. I mean, women have done such great works in terms of getting to where we are right now. We just need to continue the work in having those conversations. They're very uncomfortable conversations, and sometimes we need to initiate those conversations. So I think it will take us to continue to have those uncomfortable conversations, and the society and the males be willing to meet us halfway in terms of having these conversations, so that we can move forward with this already, and especially so that the next generation can find the world at a better place than we are at the moment. I think that's the most important thing.
I love that. I love that. And I think, why I am not trying to say a lot in this conversation, I'm not trying to talk a lot, is because I want to totally learn and I totally want to get what you're saying right here, because this is a very important topic, and I really want to get you detail to detail in this conversation. And I love that you're putting so much energy in this. I love that you're putting so much. And now let's go back to what you said. You said the society has a lot to do. The males have a lot to do in supporting women in this journey, because this is going to take us a long journey. This is going to take us a long time to get to have this balance whereby we have this equity and we are so satisfied with the results. This is going to take us a long time. And the last time I was discussing with you, I told you how I saw an article that was a research I was taking. In this research, it was said that before we can have this an equality, it will take us till 2050. I think I told you that, if you can remember that, the first time we were having a conversation. And this is serious. Now, how you said our society have to be involved, and the male have to be involved. Right now, there will be someone listening to us and be like, okay, David, Untabi, I really want to get into this. I want to be one of those supporters. I want to be one of those that would advocate and support this call, this issue. What are the specific things we have to do? What are the specific things we have to do as a society? Yes, it is about involving women. We know that. But what are the specific things to do?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think it begins with men holding themselves accountable. There are certain things that happen in a society where women are not being treated correctly. They're not being treated the way they're supposed to be treated. Like a simple example that I can make, you could be walking in the street, walking past a group of men, and all of a sudden you are being sexualized and people are whistling at you and howling at you. It starts there. For somebody to stand up and say, listen, this behavior is inhuman. This behavior is incorrect. We should not be behaving like this as men. That's where it starts. It starts with men holding themselves accountable and actually acknowledging the fact that they're in a position of privilege because of our history. And because they are privileged, they are the ones that need to play a bigger role in changing the mindset of the society and changing the environment in which we live in. It will take men to hold themselves accountable. And when they see some injustices happening, they know this is wrong. And they will not stand for it. It will take one. If all of them can hold themselves accountable and stand up and protect women, which is the role that God has given them, is to protect us as women. If they can play that role, I think we can move along as quickly as possible in this plight of getting that, of balancing the scale.
I love what you said. And right now I would just buttress that is, yes, we need more men to support that, to support women, to give voice to this issue. And I think we have amazing men doing that. We have people like Barack Obama doing that, supporting women, trying to put out his voice there to support the equality right there. And we have some amazing leaders doing that in the organization, whereby they get to put out more women in the organization in the top level to support and echo that out for other leaders to do the same. And I think as young people too, we have to do that. And the way we can do that is first respecting women in the way we respect ourselves. Just as I am a Christian, for those who are listening right now, and in the Bible, it says that love your neighbor just as you love yourself. That is one of the greatest rule Jesus Christ gave to us as Christians, as when he was asked, what is the greatest commandment? And he said, love your God with all your heart, with all your mind, and with all your soul. And he said the second greatest commandment is love your neighbor just as you love yourself. So right now, Jesus Christ understood the issue then, which I will talk a little bit about that, because this is the first time I'll really be getting into the Bible with our listeners. But if you're a non-Christian, I would want you to stick with us throughout the episode, because you would see so much value in what I would share soon. So now, loving your neighbor just as yourself is one of the best thing you can do to improve your leadership. That is one. Two, loving your neighbor just as yourself. It will help you respect other human beings and respect women more. If you can love a woman just as you love yourself, you can respect a woman just as you respect yourself, you're actually an edge to solving the problem we have. Because when you respect women, you won't want to cheat them. You won't want to pull them back from the top level in which they are, how will I put this? They fit for. They are capable to undo. They are skillful to undo. Because when you respect them, you respect their intelligence, you respect their values, you respect their ideas, you respect their feedbacks, you respect everything and anything they bring to you. So respect is one key thing to resolving this issue, to having to put out this issue out there for everyone to follow. And I think Nthabi would agree with me on that respect is one of the key things, is the foundation we have to deal with first in order to solve this gender inequality, right?
Yeah, definitely agree with you 101%. I think it does start with respect, respecting each other. You know, you can't love somebody without respecting them.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, you cannot separate the two. So if Christ is saying that we must love your neighbors, you love yourself. So if you wouldn't disrespect yourself, then you shouldn't be disrespecting the next person, whether they are male, female, blue, pink, or whatever the gender is. It shouldn't be a disparity, a gender disparity. There shouldn't be a culture disparity. There shouldn't be a race disparity. You know what I mean? So if you're loving your neighbor, you are loving yourself. And you are in fact loving God as well. It's a commandment. So I think you cannot separate respect from love. So I do agree with you 100%.
I love that. Thank you on that. I respect Nthabi so much. I respect her intelligence. I respect her confidence. I respect the influence she has. I respect everything that she does. And having her right now to listen to her talk about this issue is a great privilege. It's a total great privilege. And I'm so glad that she's here. Now,
thank you, Daniel.
my absolute pleasure. Now, we have there's this challenges women face in leadership whereby their age is a thing, whereby you hear some companies tell you if you're 40 and you have 3 kids or 2 kids or kids at all or any kid, you can't be allowed to get to the top level, or you won't be given the opportunity to get top of level because they don't think you can balance the family life and the business life together. How is that? How is that? And you know, I let me share this with you. A few days back, I was listening to the news, and there's this police force. I really didn't know we had this law in the police force here in Nigeria, which says that married women are not allowed into the force. I really didn't know that was present. I really didn't know that until a few days ago, and I was like, what? Married women not allowed? Why? Why? See something like that. That is very bad. What do you have to say to this? What do you have to say to this?
That is so disheartening. I'm actually rolling my eyes out of their sockets right now. That we are even having this question or even this discussion about women balancing lives. Women have been doing this for ages. We've got Proverbs 31 woman from the Bible that was a businesswoman, an entrepreneur, and a family woman as well that had a husband, you know. So why are we having this conversation? Women have always been able to balance family life and work life. Yes, we have to go on maternity leave after we've had kids, but that doesn't affect how women perform and how they show up in the society or in their roles as leaders. That should not even be a conversation in my mind. And the fact that married women are not allowed in a police force, that is also very disheartening at 2020. We're in 2021, for goodness sake. Women have been raising kids, have been doing the most, in our society. So I can't even speak to that, because for me, it's why are we even having this conversation in 2021? There's no question about women having to balance all the roles that they play in their lives. They've always been able to do that. It's a special talent and a special gift that God has given us. And they do it. We do it effortlessly. It should never be even as an issue that we are discussing, in my opinion. But unfortunately, there is a reality that women are discriminated against. That is discrimination. It's pure discrimination, and it's unacceptable in my mind. One should never lose or not be considered for a position because they are married and they've got kids. For me, that's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. As a woman, let me worry about my family life, or that. Don't make that decision for me. I'll see what I can do and what I can handle. And we've had women in leadership that have handled it so well. So, like I said, there's a Proverbs 31 woman in the Bible that has been doing it. So I don't understand why then there needs to be questions about this at this day and age. So yeah, that's all I got to say. It's triggering me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, man. We should not be having such discussions in 2021.
Yes, and I can go through a list of women who are doing this. And I think I shared with you one of the great leaders I know, which is Sheryl Sandberg, the chief operating officer of Facebook. We have Oprah Winfrey doing awesomely well. We have Michelle Obama. We have We have Okonjo-Iweala, which was just the US just supported in push for the Director General of the World Trade Organization in Nigeria. Perfect, super amazing woman. We have Kemi Adeosun. We have Harriet Tubman, which the US proposed that they will be having image on the dollar bill. We have so amazing women. I can go on and on with the list, and we have those people doing amazing work. So I don't really think there should be a limitation on what the woman can do. And one thing you talked about, which you really didn't say it out loud, but I took that out of your conversation, is you said, there's this, you said the woman should be the one to worry for our problems or for our challenges or anything. And yes, the society, sometimes we get to like, oh, she has a kid. How is she going to handle? We are the one that get to worry about our situation. We get to worry for her. Like, when you said, let her be the one to know how she will handle herself, we are the one that get to propose for how she would handle herself. Like, oh, she has 3 kids. How is she going to balance that with, something like that? Or she's married. How is she going to balance that? We just have to step back and let her balance herself with the business.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, come on. Women are smart. Women are powerful.
Yeah.
I can make that decision myself, and I know if one is accepting a very demanding role in leadership that requires her to be there, I'm sure a woman is smart enough to say, okay, cool, what type of help do I need? That's where we come as coaches as well, in terms of supporting, in terms of being the sounding board and a thinking partner, and just creating a space for women to actually brainstorm together and collaborate and partner and support them as much as we can as coaches. The woman basically is capable of stepping back and looking at her life and seeing what she needs and what supports that she will need, and make the necessary changes to ensure that happens. So I think we should, please don't think for us. Society should not be.
Yeah, I love that.
And making decisions on our behalf. No, I don't think that's correct.
I love that.
Don't think for me. I can think for myself.
Yeah.
Decisions for myself. Thank you very much. Yeah.
I think that's going to be an highlight or a quote by you. Do not think for us. I really love that.
Yeah, don't think for us. We can think for ourselves. Come on now.
Yeah, great. Now we've talked about the problems, we've talked about the challenges women face with their age, with the attribution of their kids or their marriages being attributed to them because of that, and they are now limited. Now we'll be moving into the solution, and I know you are so prepared for that because you have tons of solution for us right now. And I think you talked about a little bit, but absolutely, I trust you that you have something for us right here. And you talked about that, which a little bit about that, even though I didn't ask in the beginning of our conversation, which is men supporting women to lend their voice, which is part of the solution. And I love that you said that at the beginning. And I would also re-echo that right here. But now, before we move into the solution, what do you have to say because I personally know someone this issue happened to. And right now, what do you have to say to women whereby they've been limited to the extent that they are now giving up on themselves? Society has limited them, the environment, their organizations, people around them have limited them to the extent they could go, to the extent they could explore their resources, they could explore their skill, their capacity, their everything about them. What do you have to say to someone right there? There can be someone listening to us right now and be like, I have tried so many times. I have tried to put out my best. I have tried to convince my leaders. I have tried to convince my organization. But I am giving up. I am tired of this. I really do not want to engage in this anymore. What do you have to say to them right now?
Yeah, so there's this saying lately, especially in social media, that if a woman cannot have, if you cannot have a seat at the table, you create a seat for yourself. I think gone are the days where women have to beg for recognition and support and advocacy and all of those things. We're in an era where women are opening up their own empires, they're entrepreneurs, they're running their own empires. So I think that's what we must do, start our own companies that are women-led so then we can empower more women to become leaders. Do you know what I mean? But for those that God has placed in the marketplace to continue the fight, I think God will enable them. It's important for them to lean on God for strength because it's really tiring. I've been there. And you constantly it feels like you're hitting your head against the wall. And at some point you get tired of it. So the only person that can give strength is God. But I think the important thing is not to give up. Someone somewhere out there will listen. There are organizations, there are body structures that are there within organizations, regulatory bodies that are there that can help us. I think that the worst thing that could happen is for us to stop fighting and keep quiet and let things be, because then that doesn't change anything either. So I think we need to continue to have the difficult conversation. We need to continue to push. We need to continue the fight. Otherwise, then it's not going to do us any good, and it's not going to do the generations that are coming any good either. So my advice would be don't give up. Continue to be resilient. Continue to use your voice for the good. And now I'm referring to specifically those that God has placed in the marketplace, in corporates, in workplaces to actually fight this fight. He will enable them. He will give them the wisdom and the discernment to actually fight and the strength, but they should not give up. And then there are those that are gifted and are called to start companies and run their own companies and create more leadership positions for other women and train more women in leadership. So for those, then my advice is to continue and not to do not give up. God will give you strength too and the wisdom to keep pushing. I think the main thing that I'm saying is not to give up in whatever it is that you are doing. And also protect your mind, protect your peace, protect your heart. Don't allow anybody to bash you or put you down to a point where you are questioning your self-worth or questioning your self-esteem or questioning who you are. When has it become abusive so that I can move on? Because you can't continue to fight when you are being abused or are in a toxic environment. So that's where then we also need to be discerning in terms of drawing the line, where to stop fighting and to hand over the baton to someone else. So it's very important then to be in tune with God and be in tune with his leading in terms of how to deal with certain situations. Because I do not advocate for women to stay in abusive and toxic environments, even if to fight, just to continue the fight, if it's affecting them emotionally and physically, it's not worth it if that's the case.
Powerful message right there. Powerful message right there. To those who are kind of giving up, to those who are already in the marketplace, to those who are led, have the ability to start up their empires, to start up their corporations. Go ahead. Do not give up. I love that. Message to 3 specific groups right there. You know, this is what I'm saying about Nthabi. She is so amazing. So amazing. And you know, I believe Nthabi is part of those that are called to start up their incorporations, because in the beginning of the introduction, I told you how she started her company, House of Shekinah. She leads with purpose. She leads with purpose. That is super amazing. Now, can you tell us a little bit about the House of Shekinah? House of Shekinah.
So House of Shekinah is a company. It's a consulting company. It deals with strategic leadership, consulting in terms of strategic leadership, and obviously coaching and training and developing women. Not just women, but just consulting with corporates in terms of leadership and stuff. But myself as a coach, I work with women. I work with coaching women, but the business itself does work with a variety of companies as well in terms of consulting and actually helping companies come up with strategies in terms of lead and certain targets and all of those things as well. And actually, I'll be launching that part of the business at a later stage. But right now, my focus is just more on coaching and training and development here.
I love that. And, you know, something interesting, what she said is the business does with interacting with every other person, but she does with women, she deals with women. And she stated that on her Instagram profile. So for those, you can check her out. I think All Things Leadership with Nthabi. Yeah. All Things Lead. Am I right?
Leadership with Nthabi,
Yeah, All Things Leadership. And she puts out amazing content. I think every Monday she puts out this video surrounding leadership. I think the last one you put out was Vision. I think something like that.
So you're right. I do put out videos every week. I'm currently doing motivational self-mastery videos every Monday. I haven't started with the leadership videos. They will be coming soon. I'm launching a YouTube channel very, very soon, where I will be delving deeper into issues that women go through in their day-to-day lives in terms of their leadership journey. So that's loading, that's coming soon. But yeah, on Mondays I do more motivational self-mastery videos, 5-minute videos, and a bit of coaching as well in there. Yeah, so I do those videos.
Okay, great. So just because of time, we'll wrap up soon. Well, let's offer the solution. So what is the solution to solving this issue of few women in leadership? How can we get to boost more women in leadership? What can men do? What can students do? What can organizations do? And just before I allow you to say that, I just want to offer my own number one solution, which I think is good, is first, every organization should have a society for women, and I think Facebook does that. Facebook has this women in leadership, like women society, whereby women at the top get to interact with other women at different levels of the organization. And I think other organizations need to just imbibe that. They need to kind of take that and use that in the organization, whereby you create a society. When you create a society for women, they get to interact, they get to, brainstorm together. This gets to boost their level of support, because they would support each other. And just to put out there, I love that more women like you that do this, you also, one of the things you advocate for also is unity among women. And I think that's absolutely the truth, that we need more unity. And also from the male side, there should be more unity in the gender race to push this, boost this the solution to this. So what other solution do you think we need to be involved in or we need to do to solve this?
I think you're right. I think, yes, women, there's different various groups and various bodies and organizations where women are collaborating in terms of moving this issue forward and solving for this issue. But I think the one thing that we need more of is for women and men to come together and solve together, because as much as women, we can get together, which is great. We get together in these women conferences and we empower each other. Like I said, that I feel women do not need any more empowering. We need to be supported and we need to infiltrate those leadership positions. And the only way we can do that, we need the leadership that is there in organizations to actually advocate for women to actually move into these positions. And that obviously that needs to be holistic. We need to start recognizing leaders and training leaders from the day as a leader, when you see that potential, when a new starter starts coming from varsity, joining your organization, we need to start grooming for leadership at that level. And we also need to start grooming for leadership in schools, just conscientizing young girls to be leaders. And also when they start hitting the job market, they'll be equipped. And also we need more leaders as well who are in leadership position in more middle and junior levels as well, so that in a couple of years to come, they'll be trained enough, they'll be skilled enough and experienced enough to actually hold those senior leadership and executive leadership positions. At the same time, we cannot expect that they should just pick out any woman and put them in those executive positions. I think we need the skill and we need that experience, and we need to be developed at a young age, so that by the time you are chosen to actually fill that position, you are ready and you are truly prepared and you are set up for success. That's what needs to happen. Like, a woman needs to be set up for success when taking up such a role, and that also needs to be advocated by our male counterparts and the leadership that is there. It's the leadership that can drive change. It's the leadership that can influence the change. And unfortunately, however you look at it, the power still does lie. The majority of the power does still lie with the males. So I do challenge the males who are in leadership positions. Yes, they've done so much already. We do have women in leadership. We do in very critical leadership positions, but we need more. And we thank them for the work that they've done already, but we just need more of their help, and more. We need them to just advocate for us a bit more and to continue having these conversations so that the scale starts to balance at some point.
That is true. That is to equip them right from a young age, equip them right from the university level or from the home, equip them. For those who have a girl child, try to equip them, try to teach them what they need to know, try to let them be aware of this problem, on how they can stand tall, on how they can be confident in this area. Because, as I said, I believe women are the one who take us into the next phase of innovation. It's the next phase of leadership. It's the next phase of quality love and empathy and great skill and every good thing. I think women are capable to do that. And I know I didn't forget about the Bible passage, which I was about to, I promised to share with you, which is this. I said earlier in the conversation that I will share with you the story of how Jesus even, and I think I shared this with Insabi the last time we spoke, how Jesus Christ also recognized this issue of inequality in men and women. And this is it. I think it was in the book of Matthew where this woman was caught in an adultery. And, the people caught her, and, this story, when one of my role models, and which I shared with Insabi sometimes ago, Samademi, talked about this story, I was so jacked up because I laughed my tummy off. I laughed off. And, they caught this woman and they brought her. First of all, she was caught in a fornication or adultery. That was how it was put. So get that right. Get that right. She was caught in the act. And the Bible stated that she was caught in the act. So hold that with you. And when they caught her, they brought her to Jesus Christ. And they said, Jesus Christ, this lady was caught in the act of fornication. And said, okay. And I was like, she was caught in the act. Like, only her. Caught in the act. Like, only her. Caught in the act. Now, you have to understand that for you to commit this, you need a male counterpart. You need a male. You need
a candle.
And I said, wow. And Jesus Christ understood this, and he said, if he was not careful, he knew these people wanted to push him to the wall. He knew these people wanted to cause a trouble, wanted to cause a problem, and said, okay, no problem. If that is what you guys want to do, he said, okay, whoever who think is clean or who think is perfect and well molded and does not commit anything or does not committed anything, should pick a stone and throw at her. And right there, I said, wow, this is one of the best methods for conflict resolution, or the best way for conflict resolution. I said, wow. He just took them at the spot right there and said, for you who have never committed this sin, okay, pick up a stone and throw at her. And everyone was shocked. No one moved. And I said, wow, it's not just because Jesus Christ felt like he wanted to counter them, but he understood that there was an inequality balance right there. Why was the man not brought there? Why was the man not also dragged there to be disgraced that this is what these two were actually doing, but only the female? So this same story I shared with my dad, and we talked a lot on this, and we got so much value from this conversation, and we came to the conclusion that this is how our society is. This is the reflection of our society. This is the reflection of who we are as a society, and we really need to change that. We need to change that perspective. We need to change that story. We really need to change that idea and that limitation we put on women. We need to take it off, cancel it off, and make sure, because by doing this, we get to have a more equitable world. We get to have a more loving world. We get to have a more, transparent world, whereby we get to work together. We get to achieve greater things together. So if you have been listening to us, one of the major things we talked about is respect. I'll say that again. Respect women more and more. Respect women more and more. Just the way you respect yourself. Just the way you do not want to be disrespected. Just the way you don't want to be used, you don't want to be manipulated. Just the way you don't want to be cheated on. Just the way you don't want to be abused, just the way you don't want to be harassed, just the way you don't want bad things to happen to you. Do not also do it to others. Do not do it to others, because this is a big issue for those who think this is not the issue, or those who think this is not the issue. We've talked about this right now, and we're saying this is a big issue. This is a big issue. And don't worry, I would make sure to organize a time with Unsabi to always bring her back to, talk more on this, because we cannot overemphasize how this is a very, very big issue. And I am so glad I'm having Sabi to talk about this. So respect more, men to also lend their voice out to support this cause, to support their voice, the women's voice, to work together. And I love that Insabi talked about that in her final answers that she gave. She said men and women need to work together. It's not just about creating the community for women only, but also the teamwork between men and women. And I love that she stated that. And organizations need to take the responsibility upon themselves to make sure that whenever they're getting to pick people for top levels, they should make sure there is the equality in balance. There is this balance in you putting forward the candidate. And I remembered, I think, for those who have been following the episode, our last guest, I think Sarah Habib, Sarah Habib, who is from the United Kingdom, shared a story with me personally of how she was in an organization, and there's this vacancy for an higher level, and they need someone there. And there is this other male counterpart who is doing well in grave, and she said she's also they are also on the same level, having the same results with the same qualifications, and they got to give the male counterpart the attention that is the one who would be perfect for the organization. And she was like, no, you didn't even evaluate, you didn't even take research, you didn't even get to go through the normal process. You just had to finalize your decision just because he's a male counterpart. And she went ahead, convinced them with her research and her results, and she was given the position. People like that, when I hear the story, I am so amazed. So for women, you also just get to put yourself out there, just as how Insabi is doing. She's, making her voice heard. She's making her voice heard. She's giving the quality information out there. She's giving the best of information out there. She's giving, top notch. She's giving right out there. And thank you so much, Insabi. Thank you so much. So what would be your closing remark, will I say, if I may say?
So yeah, this I'm just going to take it back to what the scripture that you shared about Jesus loving your neighbor like yourself. I mean, if you love your neighbor like yourself, you would treat them with respect, and you would treat them like you would treat yourself. It just goes back to a heart of an individual, Yes, we are conscientized based on our culture, based on where we come from. But I think it's just showing love and kindness and consideration for the next person just goes a long way, in terms of how you treat others. So I think we need to just be mindful on how we treat others, on how we come across. And obviously, I do recognize that we come from different environments, but we can still have fruitful conversation and fruitful conflict resolution, even though we do come from different backgrounds, in order to move a certain goal forward. I think it's very important that women are treated the way they deserve to be treated, and recognized for the powerful force that they are, and that God created us to be. We also come from God. We were created by God. Yeah. So I don't understand the inequality that comes in the society. And it's actually also reflective in the Bible when you spoke about the woman that was almost stoned. And Jesus, and Jesus intervened there. It speaks of the patriarchy. I think it needs to start. It needs to start changing, because it's not biblical. It's not human to treat people like that anyway. So it's not even a woman and a male thing. It's just a human level. We need to treat each other better as human beings. I think those are my closing remarks. And Thanks. For the women who are out there doing their thing, continue fighting, continue pushing. I like the story that you just shared about the lady that actually fought and proved that she deserved to be in that position. We need to do more of that. We need to be bold. But I think then the goal is to get to a point where there's fairness, to get to a point where there isn't a male leadership and a female leadership, where leadership is just leadership. There shouldn't be a disparity. We need to get to that world. But before we can get to that, there's work that needs to be done, and we need to continue to push and do it. Those are my closing. Very close, long closing.
I love that. Seriously, I love that, because you took your time. You made sure what you wanted to say is being understood. And I understood that. And I hope our listeners also get to understand that. And please keep doing what you're doing. And surely would love to have you back, because, this is a very long conversation. And what I planned also wasn't what even happened. I am so amazed that, we have to just go through the flow. And I'm sure, because, we took a lot of time, and next time I want us to, manage the time and just put out valuable content out there. And thank you so much for your time spent well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Where can our listeners connect with you?
So I'm on Instagram and Facebook, all things leadership with Ntabi, and then LinkedIn, Tabi Seng Mutaung. That's where they can connect with me.
Yeah, great. So guys, please check her out, check her content out. And as I do say, we are all here to help each other. We are all here to serve each other. We're all here to love each other, So we need that unity, we need that teamwork to get to push out this issue outside and, to create more awareness for this and to offer solutions to this, because it's not just about creating the awareness, it's also solving the issues, providing solutions for this. And I'm so glad that myself and Untabi were able to, put our own quota of this out there. And I'm so glad you are listening to this. I'm so glad you gave us the opportunity to be in your eardrums. If you loved this episode, if you loved this conversation, don't forget to leave us a review on Spotify, on Apple, iTunes, wherever you listen to the podcast. Please leave us a review and share with your friends and family. Till we meet next time, lead, love, and serve. Thank you so much.
We would like to show our appreciation to as many that tuned in. We hope you enjoyed every bit of this episode. Please do make it a date to join us next week for another wonderful episode of the Leadership Journey. Let's endeavor to inform our friends and colleagues, and I promise you won't regret it. See you next week and stay tuned. Bye-bye.